Because if I was meeting you for the first time, I'm like, really? Your name is Dr. Rage?
Yeah, some people call me Dr. Rage.
What TV show is most like your real life? ER, Scrubs, or Grey's Anatomy? One of the coolest experiences because you were the editor of the sports section, just walking around for the homecoming game. We're on the field, everyone knows you, and they're like, oh shoot, that's Rage with the hypnotist.
We went downtown with Joakim Noah.
And he was so cool. He was like, yeah, I play basketball in Chicago. And I was like, that's cool. I'm also from Chicago. And he was like, all right, man.
And then, so this is my favorite part, though. So me and Todd are trying to carry you off the hay bales. Like, I get your head, let's just get out of the way.
Then the next time we hung out, you're like, hey, so I'm going to go to Hawaii. And I'm like, that's cool. He's like, you should come. Hang on.
Yeah, so I developed a couch to half marathon program. And my roommate was my protege, the first one to try it. So when he first started, he couldn't run a mile without stopping, and then he finished a half marathon 3 months later. So that's pretty cool.
How are you holding up, my doctor friend?
I'm going to expel.
Can you recommend anything for lay people like me who want to increase their medical IQ a tad, but don't have your background?
To help each other. I think the biggest thing that I want people to know out there is there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than just the virus. Like this is having a big domino effect downstream.
I will answer that real quick. Boom. All right, bye here. Ha. Man, it is good to see you.
What's up, man?
You are the first person I'm talking to. This is my new format, my program. It's called My Favorite People. I'm interviewing you before I introduce my own wife. So,
man, that's a ballsy move there, man.
Well, she helped me with the questions I have for you. I've always known you as Rage. What do people call you in your part of town?
Most of the people call me Rage. People call me Rage. It's weird in the hospital because a lot of the nurses are my age, so they're just kind of my friends. So it feels weird when people call me Dr. Geringer, so usually correct people to call me Rage.
Okay. Do you have people call you Dr. Rage?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in the hospital, if it's a new patient... Because if I was meeting you for the first time, I'm like, really? Your name is Dr. Rage?
Yeah, some people call me Dr. Rage. Like my MA at the clinic, she calls me Dr. Rage. If it catches on, I'm fine with it. It's cool.
Okay.
It's cool. It's easier to say. A lot of people say Dr. G because apparently Geringer is a hard name to say.
Well, I've never pronounced your last name before, and you know why. But let's talk about how we met. One of the University of Wyoming schools, it was Sheridan College.
Yeah, Sheridan College.
And you were my host. You were the person trying to show me around campus. And fast forward a few years, you're now a medical doctor.
Just a few, man. That was 10 years ago.
That's insane.
You and I met at this point.
The thing that struck me about you is we hung out that one time, and that was like my first year performing, and the agent was like, don't invite people to your hotel. Don't ever do that. And I was like, all right, cool. And I was like, hey, like, you're pretty cool. Don't tell anyone. We can go to my hotel. There's putt-putt golf. And like, we just chilled by the vending machines and chatted for like hours.
Well, and McDonald's was closed except for the drive-thru, so we walked through the drive-thru, if I remember correctly.
That sounds like something I would do with you too, yeah. Then the next time we hung out, you're like, hey, so I'm going to go to Hawaii. And I'm like, that's cool. He's like, so if you can fly yourself out here, you should come hang out in Hawaii. I just love that I agreed. We hung out that one time when I was in Wyoming. And the second time I saw you in my life, we were in Hawaii.
Hey man, sometimes you know who's gonna be your friends for the rest of your life,
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's true. And then skip a year, I saw you at the University of Wyoming. One of the coolest experiences because you were the editor of the sports section for the school newspaper. Yeah. And so we're just walking around for the homecoming game. We're on the field. Everyone knows you. And they're like, oh, shoot, that's Rage with the hypnotist. And I'm like, yeah, I'm the hypnotist. And like in true University of Wyoming fashion, every time there was a first down, that's another Wyoming first down motherfucker.
Yeah, that's a tradition that the new coaches tried to kill, but it's not going to go away.
You can't.
Yeah. That was the same night that we went downtown with Joakim Noah.
Yes.
It's about consciousness. It's about positive change. Why do you rock your drop?
I rock my drop for the youth.
You know, I've seen Joakim Noah since then, and I didn't recognize him the second time I saw him.
That's fair.
I was just like, oh, we're two light-skinned black guys in Wyoming. And he was so cool. He was like, yeah, I play basketball in Chicago. And I was like, that's cool. I'm also from Chicago. And he's like, all right, man. But since then, like I said, you've been a doctor. We did a Spartan run together. You carried me across the finish line for a Spartan run.
Yeah, that was fun, man. Flew out to Chicago to hang out with you, do a Spartan run, and there, man, I can see the finish line. We can see the finish line. We're 8.5 miles into this race, and Chris is doing well. He climbs to the top of the rope, and for some reason, lets go.
I let go at the very top of this 12-foot rope. I said, well, I rang the bell, job done.
So this is my favorite part, though. So he lands on the hay bales at the bottom. Instantly cramps, which if you haven't had a leg cramp, I tell you what, man, those things are bad news. They hurt so bad, but you can still hobble yourself out of the way. But not Chris Jones, man. Chris Jones, not only did he lay underneath his rope, but he made sure to stretch out to take up 3 ropes. So there's just a line of people like trying to get on the ropes, and me and Todd are trying to carry you off the hay bales. Like, I get your head. Let's just get out of the way.
Well, I didn't want to get disqualified for you helping me. And it's stupid me. Everyone helps everyone in some way at the Spartan run. Like, you give someone some verbal advice. You give them some encouragement. Some people actually push bums up. But you were like, you got to go. I was like, no, I'll be fine. You're like, I hear you, but you need to move out of the way because you're making a scene.
Yeah, but the bad thing about it is the finish line was, like, right there.
It was right there. You're like, I can see the finish line. I will carry you.
Just carry you.
Another beautiful thing, you never met Todd before that. A guy I knew back in college, and he was like, hey, I'm Todd, I'm pretty fit. I'm by myself. And then he ran the whole thing with us. And then we did karaoke that night with him.
Did go karaoke that night. Some Disney classics.
That takes us, I think, to seeing a live a cappella group.
Yeah, we did the a cappella group was the night of the marathon. So we did the Denver Colfax. And then came home and showered real quick and ran back downtown for Pentatonics.
Yes. So we woke up early. We ran a half marathon. You trained a couple of your roommates through it.
Yeah.
Turned your garage into a gym.
Yeah.
And you took someone who couldn't run a mile into running 13.1 miles.
Yeah, so I developed a couch to half marathon program, and my roommate was my protege, the first one to try it. And so when he first started, he couldn't run a mile without stopping, and then he finished a half marathon 3 months later. So that's pretty cool.
Congratulations. Yeah, no, that was a lot of fun. And you beat me. And for everyone at home, Rage played basketball, college basketball. He could dunk, he could stuff, and he beat me in the half marathon by a lot. I never felt good at all, and he just demolished me.
Yeah, about 2 miles in, Chris goes, go ahead, I'll catch up.
I was like, I'll stare down your jersey. Yeah.
I felt good that day. I was training for that. That was my PR at that point. That was a new PR then.
Yeah, but either way, win or lose, we made the front page of the Denver Post the next day.
Post? Yeah, we did.
So
it was a great picture, both of us looking down at our watches.
At the start line. Boop. So that takes us to where we are now, talking hundreds of miles apart during a COVID scare.
Yeah, in a global pandemic.
How are you holding up, my doctor friend?
It's good, man. It's Denver didn't. We haven't got hit as hard as we planned, which is good. I just got off a month of night shifts where we were admitting primarily coronavirus patients, so it was busy in that aspect of things. But everyone's healthy. Everyone in my program and all the docs I work with have stayed healthy so far. So we can't ask for more than that.
I'll give you the first question. Is there anything you want to share with people based on your experience, what you wish people could know?
So it's hard because there's so much politics behind everything these days that it's hard to see, you know. A lot of the people who are talking about it aren't working in the hospitals and things like that, but there's a lot to be said about other aspects of things. And I think the biggest thing that scares me about everything is, you know, a big piece of my patient population in my outpatient clinic is, you know, I'm obesity certified, so I work with obese patients, trying to get them to lose weight. And then I work with people who are trying to come off narcotics, who are kind of addicted to narcotics and opiates. And so, you know, that worries me because I get a lot of emails from my patients that, you know, that are struggling right now because there's nothing to distract them. So, you know, they are stuck in their house. And what do we do when we're bored at home? We eat, right? we eat everything. Everyone's trying to become professional chefs. You know, you look at your Instagram and everyone's making new stuff, and it's hard to stay on the workout regimens that I give. You know, I try to write up regimens for my patients, and gyms aren't open. Try to write up diet plans. Hard to follow when you're just sitting around the house. And then on the other aspect of things, you know, I have alcoholics and I have opiates, people who are addicted to opiates, and not a lot to distract them. You know, they're not going to work right now. A lot of them are getting laid off from the distractions they had. So I think the biggest thing that I want people to know out there is there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than just the virus. Like this is having a big domino effect downstream.
That's deep, yeah. Because, you know, I'm in Chicago. I don't know. I think we're the third largest city in America, and you're in Denver, which is no small place.
Yeah, I think we're eighth or ninth biggest in America. But you know, and things are winding down a little bit for now in Denver. You know, we were having you know, 30, 40, 50 people or more die a day for a long time. Yesterday was 9 people in the entire state of Colorado, which is the first time we've seen single digits since, you know, the beginning of March.
Wow.
And the day before that was 10, and the day before that was 10. And you know, I haven't seen. They usually release the information around 6 o'clock, and I haven't seen that yet. But I don't know what today is. But things are winding down. But the people who are still getting sick are the elderly. Our ICUs are still full in the couple hospitals that I work in. But otherwise, you know, it's starting to wind down a little bit, but we'll see what happens with kind of this relaxation of the stay-at-home orders.
Right. No, it's scary. Here in Illinois, it's illegal to go out into a public place unless you have a face mask on. Like, I can go running, that's fine. But if you're in a place, you have to have a face mask on, which, you know, again, there's some political stuff. I appreciate that as a person who has a pregnant wife. I don't want anyone taking away a doctor from someone who could be looking after my baby or my wife.
Right.
But hell, I'm selfish.
Yeah, we have the mask rule going into effect tomorrow in Denver.
Okay, cool. So let's ask one question. How can I, just a person, help other people?
I think right now it's following the rules, for one. But two, you know, use what you can to, you know, entertain people. Reach out to those who might need a little extra help right now. You know, one thing you and I connect on a lot is we're pretty passionate about mental health, and you know, I think we all know a lot of people who are stuck at home right now with the unknown. One of the more scary things in the world is the unknown, and right now we have a lot of unknown. And so people are very anxious. I think mental health issues are struggling right now. So reaching out to those people, and then, you know, reaching out to your elderly neighbors and seeing, you know, if they need any groceries or anything like that, that you can help them go pick up, things like that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm one of the people who like posts things on social media and then does nothing personally. Like, I haven't given any money to a hospital, Doctors Without Borders. My wife, who is amazing, who still has a job, works from home, has gone before our neighbors and said, if you need anything, here's our numbers, call. But I'm just the guy who gets upset, and I'm upset with myself for just being upset.
Yeah, it's tough because everyone has an opinion, and some people's are different than yours, and again, the number of social media posts right now is probably skyrocketing because then again, there's nothing else to do. I was reading on today, they expect by the end of the week, the unemployment rate in the country is going to be like 20%. That's 1 in 5 people are going to be unemployed. So, anything we can do to kind of help each other out. I put a big thing on Facebook the other day, just kind of pleading with people to help each other out a little bit. There's all this free stuff for doctors right now, free shoes, free donuts, free coffee, for everything like that. But, the single mom waitress with 3 kids at home who kind of relied on the school system to supply lunches for that family, that $1,200 stimulus check isn't going to be enough for her. So, reach out for people like that.
Yeah, that's very thoughtful. That's good of you. Real fast pivot to something nice and happy. A wonderful question from my caller, who is my wife, Stacy. What TV show is most like your real life? ER, Scrubs, or Grey's Anatomy?
I'm a little embarrassed to say I've never seen ER, so
okay.
I can't.
It was a little bit before our time. We're both young doctors.
Yeah. That was, that was primetime Clooney, right? That's
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. Funny you should say, Scrubs just came out on Hulu, all of the seasons, so I am already in season 3 of rewatching Scrubs. That's probably the most least realistic of them. They do follow our timeline well with the interns and then the senior residents and attendings, things like that. But how kind of laid back and things like that.
Does that make you cringe? I watch like reality TV, and I had a reality TV show, and I just know what is scripted. Does it make you cringe or anything? You're like, that's bullshit. Like, bullshit.
No, there's some stuff that makes you laugh. And same with Grey's Anatomy. There's some stuff that they do that you're just like, okay, yeah, that's not how it works. But, it's still entertaining. I still watch it. The Grey's Anatomy piece of things, their medicine is surprisingly accurate, at least for the few episodes that I've seen. And same with Scrubs. Actually, I gotta say, like, when they're throwing out like these absurd diagnoses that we read about in textbooks and things like that, and the JD and those guys are answering the questions. Those are correct. Like, so they've done their homework. So that's appreciated. And then Grey's Anatomy, kind of has a little more dichotomy, but with everything as far as how we train and moving through the ladders. And I don't think we have as much intra-hospital connections as maybe
Grey's Anatomy
has.
So it sounds like Grey's Anatomy is correct, whereas Scrubs is the thing that you're binge watching. So yeah. One touches your heart.
There's a lot of stuff on Grey's Anatomy that's incorrect, but the one that you didn't bring up that I would say is probably my favorite,
please,
is House. House is probably my favorite.
Yeah.
Again, medicine is very, very accurate. The way they go about it, where House can, do neurosurgery if he wants to, or he can go deliver babies if he wants to, all that's highly incorrect. But the medicine's pretty accurate.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, I love that. I just love that he's pissed off all the time.
That's also very accurate.
Yeah, he's like, you guys are idiots. I'm a genius. I'm babysitting people. Quick pivot. Do they prepare you for pandemics in medical school?
Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. No, this is uncharted territory for everybody. So, it's things we read about. We've read about Spanish flu.
Yeah.
And things like that. That being said, Spanish flu if this was Spanish flu level, we would be.
Yeah. Oh, it was 102 years ago. Like, we were dealing with. Oh no. I lost your sound. That's Spanish flu. All right. You are back. Spanish flu, yeah.
Yeah. If the Spanish flu, if this was as bad as the Spanish flu, the problem you'd run into is there would be nurses and doctors who are, I'm out. They're not going to work.
Because the Spanish flu went after people who are in their 20s, 30s, 40s.
Yeah, and the death rate was like 26% compared to whatever we have right now. we don't really know what we have right now, but
Right.
it's not in the 20%.
Yeah. That's terrifying. Yeah.
But no, we were never prepared for this. We know going into medicine. I'm going into pulmonology,
Which
so
is
the lungs.
yes.
Lungs and ICU medicine.
Okay.
And so, I know that I have a chance of being exposed to things like TB. But this is something that we weren't prepared for.
And I got a question from a second grader. Why isn't there a cure yet?
So vaccines take time. So you have to find, what strain the virus is, what works to kill the virus. We thought we had something with hydroxychloroquine. Turns out it's probably not. Hydroxychloroquine is more middle of the line than media made it, so you had the right saying, oh, this is it, gotta use it, and you had the left saying, why are you not using it, like, you guys are dumb. We were using it the entire time, but we were using it more for last ditch efforts, right? So if the patients they're not coming off the ventilator, they're getting worse, they're requiring more PEEP or more oxygen, all that kind of stuff, then they're getting thrown on, like, everything, throw full court press. Now there's a new one, remdesivir is approved now, and that has some pretty good data on it, so we'll see. But it's just like any disease. You got to figure out what's going to kill it. And it's not a bacteria, right? So we know how bacteria reproduce. We can watch them reproduce. We know that. Viruses are completely different. It's a completely different ballgame. Antibiotics don't work on viruses for the lay people. It's a completely different subset. So it takes more time. And you got to think, like influenza we see every year, but it changes just enough every year that's why you have to get the flu shot every year. And that's why you still get sick even if you get the flu shot. So it takes time.
Very interesting. I want to ask you off the record, I haven't had a flu shot in a while. Would you recommend it?
I would recommend it, especially if you're going to have a newborn in the house.
Okay, so I'm going to get a flu shot. Cool.
Yeah. And I'm going to expel a myth right now.
Okay.
I want to expel a myth. So the flu shot is an inactivated virus. Okay, so there's two different types of virus. There's three, kind of. But there's two main ones. They inject you with a dead virus, or they inject you with a live virus. Okay, so MMR, things like that, that's a live virus. Okay, so that has, the body attacks it. Influenza is a dead virus. Okay, it can't infect you. So the people who get sick after the flu shot, they're like, oh, I can't get the flu shot because I get sick every single time. Maybe so, but what you're probably having is a reaction to the medium that we're attaching the flu virus to.
Okay.
So you're getting flushed, you may have a low-grade fever, things like that. You'll see it when your baby gets vaccinations.
Yeah.
You'll see that, that they sometimes, you'll get a vaccination and the pediatrician will say, they may have a low-grade fever, just give them some, Tylenol or, Motrin.
Okay.
Same aspect for adults. So it's not the flu you're getting if you get the flu shot and you get sick. If you get really sick, upper respiratory stuff, that's just a bad coincidence.
Good advice. Thank you.
Yeah,
we're definitely going to vaccinate only because we want our baby to live.
That's good. That's a good start. That's a good start.
Cool. And I got one more question. This is a great question, again, from my wife. And prepare yourself. What patient challenged you or shaped what you now know?
Wow. What patient challenged me and shaped what I know? The first one that comes to mind, the hardest patient I've probably had, it was a 22-year-old when I was in med school, so I'd have been 24, 25 years old, with end-stage cancer. So that you have to look yourself in the mirror at that point, right? When people who are younger than you start dying and you see that, that raises your eyebrows a little bit. You kind of have to face your mortality a little bit. It's unfortunate and fortunate, and hear me out, that we sometimes get numb to people dying. It's unfortunate because it's somebody's life, right? Somebody's mom, somebody's dad, somebody's brother, somebody's cousin,
Yeah.
But when we have somebody who dies in the ICU or the ER or even the floor, less often on the floor, but it can be tough. But our day's not over. Our day's a 12-hour day. Our day doesn't end because somebody died, right? So it's fortunate that we can become a little numb to death, so we can continue helping those next to us, next door, right? Patient dies, got to go next door, continue your day. But when it's somebody who's your age, that's pretty tough. And when I was working, as a EMT in the hospital, every once in a while we'd have children come in who died and things like that. Those are the tough ones. Those ones really make you want to study harder, because you start thinking, what could I have done different, right? Sometimes there isn't anything you could have done different, but you still are going to dwell on that fact. So that would probably be it. It's the younger people dying. That's a great question. That's a tough question.
My wife is a great one, and she's a tough one.
Yeah. There's just a lot, man. Shoot, I've been almost in medicine for 10 years now. Got back in Sheridan College is when I got my first medical degree with the first responders. So, and it's amazing to see how different people cope with bad news. And how we grow giving the bad news and learning how to give bad news. That's not something that they touch on a whole lot in Grey's Anatomy and House, is telling somebody that there's nothing more you could do. But so I think every patient touches us somehow, but some more than others.
Yeah, but everything you said was very thoughtful. No one listening to you speak will think, oh, he's insensitive. I'm watching you talk to me, and you're explaining it visually, the shots and things, and I'm like, you would be a great medical teacher. Like, great. You're years from that. Like, you're too young to do that right now. You have too much on the floor we need you to do. But no, we know that your heart's in a very good place.
Yeah.
I got one more question. Any medical professional you could have a meal or a drink with, who would it be?
Any medical professional?
Yeah, and this is a Chris Jones question.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of famous doctors out there, but just because of the pure how kooky some of his thoughts were and how respected it is, I mean, you got to go with Freud, right? Sigmund Freud.
Okay.
I mean, that guy would probably take you down some thoughts at that point. For those who don't know Sigmund Freud, he's considered the godfather of psychology, right? So,
yes.
He thinks that you go through a phase in life when you're a toddler where you're sexually attracted to your mother, things like.
This is the second time we've got caught up. All this talking about sexual mothers.
Yeah, even the camera's like, all right, that's enough. Yeah, but he would take you down some wacky roads for sure. That'd be interesting. But
that's interesting.
He's long gone off this planet.
Yeah, well, that's cool.
So yeah, that'd probably it. And then what about you got to think, what's really going on in Dr. Fauci's head behind the scenes, right?
Him and the lady that works with him.
Yeah.
Have you seen? And again, we're not going to get political, but you saw like Trump talking about disinfectants, and the lady's just in the corner, like she doesn't move her head. She's just like, oh my god.
Yeah. Don't inject yourself with disinfectants, please.
No.
That's not.
Don't do
that's
that.
Not the answer.
Very frowned upon.
Who knows?
Don't worry, guys.
This is a weird.
It was sarcasm.
Yeah, this is a weird time, but boy, it's a lot of fun to be a doctor right now. With everything going on, I know it's scary, but it's for somebody who's very passionate about medicine and who loves learning more medicine, who loves reading medicine, it's been a lot of fun. I've learned a lot through all this. I know that sounds bad to say that it's been fun, but if we're going to go through a pandemic, I'd rather be a doctor through it, trying to help people and learning, trying to figure out what we can do to best help people. But the unknown, man, drives me nuts. I just want to race. I want to run. Fortunately, golf courses open back up, or else everybody.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. I forgot to mention your fallback plan was professional golf.
Yeah, in a different life, man.
No, not in a different life. Like literally, you're like, there's a shootout. I can compete in the shootout. I'm gonna focus on doctoring though.
I'm getting old now, man. My back's giving out on me.
How many miles are you running these days? Do you go by time or by distance a week?
So I have a coach who usually has convinced me to go by time.
Yeah.
The thing is runners are competitive, right? So people who run and race and want to get better and are doing it just to be in shape, we're competitive people, and so if you tell us to go run 4 miles at a 8-minute pace, you better believe that those 4 miles are coming in at about 7-minute pace, right?
Yes, they are.
So I think he had to finally say, look, you gotta just stay on your feet, run 20 minutes one direction, and turn around. I have a favorite internal medicine podcast I listen to. If it's gonna be, those are usually about 40 minutes or so, 40 minutes to an hour. So that tends to be my go-to, our podcast.
And can you recommend anything for lay people like me who want to increase their medical IQ a tad, but don't have your background?
Yes, absolutely I can, especially in the psychiatry, mental wellness. It's called Millennial Mental Health Channel. You see that?
Yeah.
Millennial Mental Health. Boom. One of my former classmates, he's a psychiatrist in Omaha now. It's good. I highly recommend that one.
Thank you.
I've made a couple of appearances.
You have, and I enjoyed it. We haven't talked about your love life. What's it like being Dr. Rage in love?
I have the most patient, caring, loving girlfriend on the planet, who has sat by and listened to me be grumpy and angry at medicine, listened to me be excited and happy about medicine over the last years and years. She's awesome. I can't say enough. It gets me excited. She's a nurse, so she's doing her part as well, But it's kind of tough because the whole virus thing has us split a little bit right now.
Right.
She's back in Wyoming, but
some FaceTime dates.
Yeah, FaceTime, texting, calling, all the above.
Yeah, I'm sure it stinks. Like you got more time for video games now because you can't go out, and we are.
Xbox died, so.
Oh no!
Yeah. So.
Well, maybe we'll start a GoFundMe for an Xbox.
We've been having like a lot of Skype Jackbox game.
Yeah, Jackbox. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. When I got married, I inherited nieces and nephews, and we played. And those kids, they can play. Like, they're good kids.
Gotta probably keep that a little more PG though.
No. They grow up faster in Michigan. They're living the good life. Well, Rage, I'm speechless. I'm tongue-tied. I'm twisted. I'm perplexed, confused. Not for anything. You are one of my favorite people on the planet. I'm happy that we met 10 years ago. We went through a drive-through at McDonald's together. I'm happy you're on this planet taking care of other people, and I'm happy your girlfriend is the greatest thing in your life.
I appreciate it, man. It's been a pleasure being a friend with you, and I'm glad you're doing this channel to kind of bring more joy to people. I'm looking forward to who all you get to interview.
This is the first and only episode. This is all I care about.
Yeah, don't stop. Make it big.
All right, safe. And we will see you when this thing is over. When it is over, you got a hug waiting for you.